and welcome to this episode of Pressed into Purpose. I am your host, Valeria Wright. Let's meet today's guest. Darnell Weathersby is a graduate of Trinity International University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in elementary education and Temple University with a Master's in Educational Leadership. He has been an educator for over 21 years, assuming the roles of teacher, assistant principal, and acting principal in both urban and suburban school districts across the country. Weathersby currently serves as a high school administrator. Being reared by a single mother and the second oldest of 8 on the west side of Chicago, Weathersby knows the pressures that come along with adversities from drugs, gangs, and violence. Weathersby believes that empowered individuals with access to education and resources have the power to transform the world. It is this philosophy that inspires him as an educator on the scene today. Weathersby is living proof that a quality education can be the vehicle that levels the playing field. In 2013, Darnell and his wife Charnel stepped out on faith and founded Lead One LLC. They believe with all their heart that every individual has a sphere of influence regardless of their title or position. They know that they have been called to empower and equip others to shatter generational curses and reach their fullest potential for the glory of God. They have been blessed to provide numerous resources such as masterclasses, internet radio show, apparel line, and published books like Journey to Fatherhood and Adventures of Donald the Knight, Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. Darnell is the proud husband of 19 years to Charnel Weathersby and father to their 2 children. Please help me in welcoming Darnell Weathersby. Welcome, Darnell.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm so glad to have you here today. We've known each other for a while, and I know a little about your journey. I've learned a little more, over time, but I am looking forward to delving into this conversation today and just really talking about purpose, talking about how you have journeyed to get to your purpose, and just talking about the challenges and the triumphs along the way. So I want to jump right in.
All right.
Listen, there is so much. I just read your bio. There's so much to unpack. There is so much to talk about. So let's jump right in.
Yeah.
So I know a little something about, the west side of Chicago.
No doubt about it.
I grew up in the Austin neighborhood, born and raised. And I know that it at times could be challenging, but at other times it was really, really great.
Yes,
People give Chicago a bad rap. We won't go into all of that, but I believe that it is not just your physical environment, but your home environment that helps to shape who you become.
Yes.
And so I want to talk about, I want to start with, here we go. Not only you grew up on the west side of Chicago, but you grew up the second of 8 siblings. Like, I did not know that about you, first of all.
Yeah.
I knew that you had an older brother, but I didn't realize there were 8 of you.
Yeah, we deep in the street.
Listen, to a single mother. So tell me how you were able to navigate in that environment and become the man that you are today. Like, how did that shape your purpose?
Yeah, so let me take an even further step back. So, God, when he says he has a purpose for you, it is clear and undeniable.
Yes.
And I would be remiss if I, first of all, didn't say congratulations on the new podcast.
Thank you very much.
Truly honored for this opportunity to come and to see you in your element and being able just to contribute to all that God is about to do in and through you through this podcast. So congratulations, first and foremost.
Thank you so much.
I was born 1 pound, 15 ounces.
Wow.
3 months premature, and a twin.
Are you serious right now?
Yes. So when I tell you God had a plan.
Yes, he did.
Because your boy not supposed to be here.
According to the statistics.
Yes. I mean,
wow.
So before the west side of Chicago ever had a chance to negatively impact me, I had to make it out the hospital.
Wow.
In the NICU for several weeks, And then you see me now, many people would never know.
Absolutely not.
Like from literally that beginning.
Wow.
So I've always known, just because he brought me through that.
Yes, yes.
You know, I always joke and say, don't hug the first person you see when you get to heaven, because Donald don't know you like that. Because we were identical. Oh. And I always say the world wasn't ready for two of us. So, nonetheless, you got Darnell. So,
okay.
But yeah, I was born an identical twin. Okay. And we'll talk about him a little bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, so second oldest of 8 kids. You know, my parents divorced when I was 3.
Okay.
So I grew up, you know, my brother, right-hand man, and 6 younger siblings.
Yeah.
So by the grace of God, you know, I always joke and say I'm the product of a mother who was crazy enough to do whatever was necessary to make sure her 5 boys and 3 girls, nobody's ever been to jail.
Come on.
Nobody's on drugs.
Come on, Jesus.
Because she was crazy enough. You feared her more than any gang.
Listen.
Like, they trying to recruit you? I got something for that.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
So between her and I always say the men of the church, stepped in a very intentional way and said, not on our watch.
All right.
So people always say, you got an old soul. Like you've been mature for a long time. It's because I've always been around older men.
Got it.
And by the grace of God, they have shaped me and formed me and spoke life into me and share words of wisdom with me, so that I always tell people what I do today is just me reciprocating and sharing out what was shared with me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, whenever I'm mentoring a young man, I always say, all you have to do is replicate what you've been told, because that's all I'm doing. Okay. You know, so that is kind of the premise by which I was able to navigate that environment. You know, Mom was serious about the grades, and she was like, you know, because OR would have been my home school. So, so she was like, no, we're not doing OR. Okay. And I was able to test in the lane.
Got you,
Because she was like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Yeah, I have great expectations.
Yes. So, I mean, you know, second oldest of 8 kids. And, you know, my wife always joked, you've been raising kids for a long time. Like,
it sounds like it.
Do you have anything left? You know, but I think that's, you know, I always say, God allowed my shoulders to be made for that. You know, and he allowed me to be able to walk and flourish with that level of responsibility from a very young age. Because he knew what I would be doing today.
Very true.
So,
he knows the plans that he has for us.
Come on.
Listen. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So you said 1 pound and
15
ounces.
Yes.
Weeks in the NICU.
Yes.
The surviving twin.
Yes.
And the second oldest of 8.
Yeah.
So, and then you've already kind of mentioned the mentorship piece.
Yeah.
So when did you know that mentorship would be a part of your purpose or journey?
Well, so I always equate it back to high school. Okay. In youth group, heavily involved. And my youth pastor, I remember me and a very good friend of mine, Kenny Evans, he gave us the reign to lead a youth Bible study. Okay. With our peers. Yeah. And I mean, like, that was a little awkward at first, because it's like, who are they to listen to us? Yes. But he saw God's hand on us, and he was like, I could lead it or you could lead it, and you guys are going to lead it.
There we go.
So, you know, and from that moment, he was always just intentionally training me up, helping me rightly divide the word. Yes. Because I had a weekly Bible study to lead. So.
Wow. So it wasn't just a one-time thing. No, it was a consistent you're leading and teaching.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So I've always been in a position from high school, and then when I got to college, I was leading Bible studies on campus. So again, because I was actively mentored and discipled, it was just a natural progression. It was like, okay, I'm just literally replicating what's being done to me in real time.
Got you.
You know, was blessed to lead my first person to Christ in 10th grade at Lane in gym class. Because, you know, I was a firm believer. He was like, you know, this is what disciples do. They make other disciples. So I was like, I didn't know any different.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, okay, so if this is what we do, then I think you need to know the Lord, and let's go. and so, I mean, it's just been a natural progression of life. So, but that's what I was taught. That's my DNA.
Got it.
You know, you learn and you give. You learn and you give. So that's been my life in different facets and avenues, but it's always been at its core to replicate the process. So,
okay. Wow. That gives me so much more insight because, you know, we sang in gospel choir together at Lane Tech, and that's where I first met you. Yep. And you were one of there were only a handful of us that were super serious about God. And super serious about things about kingdom. Right. And not saying that other people didn't know God and love God, but there were a handful of us that were very intentional about our walk. Yep. And I remember you being one of those people. And now it makes so much more sense. You know what I'm saying? Because we were taught and we were being groomed to continue in the faith.
No doubt.
And to carry the torch. Yes. And so, wow, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so when did you discover that you wanted to become a teacher or go into education?
So that's a funny thing. So, junior, senior year of high school, and this is like a lifetime ago, so as I go down this rabbit trail, you're gonna be like, what? So, singing in choir, loving music, and all the different avenues that gospel choir brought us, like, and also I sung at church, led praise and worship. So I connected with a local producer in the area, and I had like a little CD.
Are you serious?
Praise God, YouTube wasn't out back then. But I say that to say I went into college majoring in music.
Really?
Because I was just, I love music. I want to teach music, but I couldn't read music.
Okay.
So my freshman year, I'm flunking out of all my music classes.
Oh, no.
If you play it, I could sing it, but I couldn't read anything.
Okay.
So they were like, "Wow, you mean well? You about to go back to the West Side because you flunked it." And then my dean of education found me. Okay. And she was like, "Darnell, every time I see you, you're in front of a group of people and you have a captive audience. Have you ever considered?" It wasn't even on my radar to be an educator.
Wow.
She was like, "I heard from the music department that things aren't going so well, but you are a natural born deliverer of information."
Wow.
She was like, "Have you ever considered?" And I was like, anything that's going to keep me from going back home, because my mama ain't having it. My mama is not having it. So your boy turned to education and the rest is history.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't even on my radar.
Talking about God having a plan for you.
Shout out to Dr. Kennett.
Wow.
Yes. Shout out to Dr. Kennett. I remember that day like it was yesterday.
That is so amazing and crazy all at the same time.
It wasn't even on the radar.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you go into the path of education.
Yes.
And you are in college and you are studying and you're leading Bible studies. And then you graduate and you get into your career as an educator.
Yeah.
Now, some people just stop at being a teacher. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Right.
What made you take the next step to say, hey, there's more to this journey or more to this story?
So I'll say this. There is power in the woman that you marry.
Yes, it is. Come on.
So, of everything I had already navigated and come through.
Yeah.
Graduating from college first in my family.
Okay.
I'm CPS school teacher, and I'm like, okay, your boy done made it.
Right.
Taught for 3 years in CPS, and then my wife and I relocated to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I lived out there for 8 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 12 hours away from all family and friends.
Wow. Now, we got to talk about that.
Yes,
We'll circle back with that. Go ahead.
But I say all that to say, around my 5th year of teaching, you know, my wife was like, you're a great teacher, but I see more. And at first, your boy was offended. I was like, what you mean?
Right.
Like, what you saying, I'm not good enough right now? She was like, baby, calm down.
Right.
You are thriving as a teacher.
Yes.
But I see more capacity in you.
Come on.
And she spoke what we now call the Principal by 30 campaign.
Okay.
She was like, I think you could be a principal by 30.
Wow.
You need to go ahead and start your master's program because how you're impacting classrooms, I think you can impact whole buildings.
Okay.
So she spoke that.
Come on.
And I had my
wife.
master's degree and was assistant principal by 29
Come on.
because the queen spoke that
Listen.
into reality. So
the
again,
power
yes.
of life and death are in
Come
the
on,
tongue.
come on.
And we have to speak life
Yes,
into our relationship. Look, that's a
yes.
whole nother
Come
conversation.
on, come
I
on.
might need to have
Come
you and the queen
Hey,
back on the
hey.
podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Because I know a
yes.
little something about speaking life.
Come on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't even,
Listen.
just like being a teacher wasn't on the radar.
Yeah.
Initially, being an administrator wasn't on the radar, but 7 years of teaching, transitioned to my first assistant principal gig in 2010, and now I'm 15 years in as an administrator. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is amazing. This is amazing. Okay, listen. Okay. So now you are an administrator, and I just have to say this. I have seen, because I follow you on social media.
Yeah.
I have seen correct me if I'm wrong, it's Bow Tie Tuesday?
Yes, Bow Tie Tuesdays.
And tell me a little bit about that
Yeah.
and how that started.
Yeah, so again, being out in Pennsylvania, I'm about an hour outside of Philly. You know, I'm a firm believer just because of my background and my upbringing, you are a reflection of the examples around you.
Yes.
So, you know, we can talk all day long about our young men not dressing appropriately and pants sagging and all of that.
Okay.
But what are we doing about it?
Okay.
What kind of example are we strategically and intentionally providing for them?
Got it.
So I was like, hey, I'm always suited up, you know, suit and tie. I'm going to switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to give them yet another layer of how they can present themselves.
Yeah.
You know, so 12 years ago now, I started Bow Tie Tuesdays.
Wow.
Again, just as a weekly reminder to them of, hey, you know, you can be authentically you and have different layers to how you present yourself.
Come
It doesn't
on.
always have to be a bow tie, but it can be.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be fresh Nikes, but it can be. So, like, it doesn't have to be all this or all that.
Right.
But give yourself layers and options on how you present yourself. So,
Come on with options. Come
yeah.
on.
So, I mean, we started that. And it's funny, over the years, young men, they'll wear one to, I don't know about this, it's too tight, or, you know. But then they'll go throughout the day and they'll say, yo, Mr. Weathersby, the girls are feeling this. And I'm trying to help you, man.
Listen.
I'm just telling you what I know. So they're like, yo, I'm wearing one next week, you know? So, I mean, and then, you know, teachers are wearing it, you know? So again, it's just something that, you know, the staff now, we set our clock to it.
Gotcha.
So if let's say the Tuesday of finals, for example, I won't wear one. They'll be like, okay, so is it Monday or is it Wednesday? Because we thrown off now.
Right,
Because we are accustomed to, like clockwork, on Tuesdays, you got on that bow tie.
Yes.
And if we don't see a bow tie, now we all thrown off.
Right, it can't be Tuesday.
Right. So, but again, just knowing that part of my purpose is being a example to both those who look like me and those who don't.
Yes.
You know, I'm
yes.
reminded of my experiences as an administrator in both urban and suburban settings, my first 10 years were all urban ed.
Okay.
Chicago, Philly. And then, again, my wife, she was like, while the hood needs you, if you don't go to the suburbs, they'll never experience what Black excellence could look like. Again, the queen, she's always been on it.
Wow.
So at that time, I called myself, an education missionary, if you will, because I'm definitely leaving the environment I'm accustomed to.
Yes.
But I've been able to create great headway in ministry opportunities. Again, I remember when I was out in Pennsylvania, my first month at Mechanicsburg High School. Okay. I was the first ever African-American administrator in the history of their district.
History of the district.
History of the district.
Wow.
And I remember my first month of school there. First day of school, this African-American young lady came running down the hallway. And like the summer before, the newspaper did an article on me. It was like, it was real.
Oh, my God.
It was real. But she was like, he's here. And I'm suited up.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And she was like, she coming up, she hugging me, and she was like, you don't understand. I've been in this district. She was a senior. I've been in this district for 12 years, and I've never had an adult, male or female, who looks like me in a position of authority. So you have no idea, just the mere fact of you walking down this hallway, the impact it's having. So that was the first day of school. Wow. And then a month later, I had a Caucasian young man. He was a junior. He said, Mr. Weathersby, we've been watching you. And I said, oh, really? Tell me more.
Right.
He said, no, hear me out. He said, when they first hired you, we thought they were just bringing you in to keep the minority students in line.
Oh, wow.
But he said, we've watched you, and we've come to learn that you actually care about all of us. And we didn't expect that. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean.
Yes.
This is.
Yes.
I know I've said wow at least 20 times, but I am amazed at the journey and the impact and influence that God has allowed you to have every step of the way.
Yes.
I mean, talk about being pressed into purpose. So you and your wife make a decision to step out of your comfort zone and go to a new place.
12 hours away from everybody.
How did Pennsylvania even become the place?
Well, so she worked for Caterpillar coming out of college. So even in that sense, you grew up in a day and age where it's like the man is the head.
Yeah.
And we've always been Team Weathersby. Like, if it's your season to thrive, then I got you, babe.
Yes.
If it's my season, she got me.
Yeah.
So they offered her a promotion to head up the whole northern East Coast of their department for marketing and business.
Wow.
So I was like, who am I to have the audacity to stand in the way of my queen shining?
Absolutely.
So I was like, I'm a Black man in education. I'm going to land on my feet, babe. We out.
Okay.
So we relocated.
Wow.
No family, no friends, no nothing.
And look, and you went to a land that the Lord showed you.
Come on. Very, very much Abraham moment.
Listen.
But he knew what he had in store.
Yes.
But again, a lot of people is like, oh, man, who wearing the pants? And I'm like, dude, you can say that as a single dude.
Right.
But I'm going to live this married life.
Come on.
And we going to create this empire together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's just been a testament of God's grace of, in June we'll be celebrating 20 years.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on. In May we'll be celebrating 20 years.
Come on now.
Listen, come on. There are so many similarities to our story.
Yes.
We really have to circle back and do bring both of you on.
Yes.
But we gonna stay. I'm gonna do my best to stay focused.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Destiny Film and Media. Go to destinyfam1.com for all your media needs. Destiny Film and Media, your destiny through film and media. Let's talk about your books.
Yes.
So, you wrote a book called Journey to Fatherhood.
Yes.
What did that stem from?
Okay.
And what made you say, I need to write this book and now is the time?
It came out of the necessity of trying to keep my sanity. So
Okay.
July 2010, after 5 years of marriage, we found out we were expecting our first child.
Okay.
Again, my parents divorced when I was 3. So while I've had many men disciple me and mentor me, my biological father was never in the home. So therefore, I'm married, God is blessing, and now we're expecting our first child, and I have no template nor understanding of what in the world am I supposed to be doing?
Okay.
Do I go to the doctor's visits? Do I not? Everywhere I knew growing up in the hood, nobody had a crib. So how do I even put one together? I'm out of my element. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay.
So for 9 months, every day, the Lord was like, just journal.
Okay.
Put it on paper,
Yeah.
all your fears, all your prayer requests. So literally 9 months of an autobiography, just sharing how we proactively and intentionally prepared for our child's arrival.
Wow.
And it was meant to just be a gift to my daughter. And at the time, we didn't know the sex or anything, but it was just meant to be a gift to her when she graduated from college or got married. But then the Lord was like, oh, slow down. There are millions of young men,
Yeah.
those who look like you and those who don't, who are just as scared, just as ill-prepared.
Yeah.
And I didn't have you document that to keep to yourself.
Okay.
So I need you to publish that
Okay.
because there are young men who need it.
Yeah.
So that I walking in obedience, you know, I self-published.
Okay.
And by the grace of God, men across the country and around the world have read my journal entries, and it's given them permission to document their own journey to fatherhood. Because at the end of each trimester, there are discussion questions. Because a lot of times as husbands and as men, we're taught to provide and protect everyone else. But few of us are taught on how to protect our own selves.
Wow.
How do you process your own emotions?
Okay.
Your own
Okay.
psyche?
Yes.
You know, so yeah, I'm making sure the queen is good, but I'm scared to death.
Yeah.
So what's my outlet? You know?
Okay.
How am I allowing myself to, in a healthy manner, get out this stress?
Got it.
You know, get out this, I'm fearful, but I can't show it.
Yeah.
I'm scared too, but I can't show it. So who do I be vulnerable for?
Got
And the
it.
Lord was like, put it on paper. Be vulnerable before me.
All right.
You know, so
All right.
again, Journey to Fatherhood came out of necessity of keeping my sanity as we prepared and navigated the pregnancy. So from the first day we found out we were expecting to the day she was born, I journal. And that's what Journey to Fatherhood is. It's literally 9 months of journal entries.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
To be able to. So how did it feel? Were you nervous to put this together and put it out there?
Yeah. So again, it was the unadulterated, deaths in the family, like 9 months of anything and everything that occurred. That was my outlet. So I've been journaling every day since.
Okay.
Like that is my thing.
Yeah.
So, that's my therapy every morning.
Listen.
You got to do it. But so, I had conversations with family members like, hey, this book is about to drop.
Yeah.
It's nothing scandalous, but
Right.
it is a all access provided look into my life.
Got it.
And how my life has interacted with your life. You may be mentioned in this.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
So I had family members pass and they were mentioned.
Got
things
it.
of that nature. But a lot of it was just, conducive to my household, if you will, and how my wife and I were navigating that season, different doctors' visits and how it went. And I'm trying to paint this room and all of this stuff and get this nursery together and, just different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you had to have those forthcoming conversations, but the family was like, this is your life. This is what God has put on your heart. And they saw the track record of obedience up to that point, and they're like, God has never steered you wrong. So if he's telling you to do this, then we trust his leading upon your life. So go ahead.
I like what you just said. They saw the track record of obedience.
Mm-hmm.
That is so important.
Yeah.
It's important. And it's been a common thread throughout the conversation. You've talked about being able to replicate what you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
You've talked about I just love that track record of obedience and people being able to see it. So with your track record of obedience, how has that, because people can see, they only see outward.
Correct.
What has that inner journey been like? Because we know that we don't always get it right.
Mm-hmm.
But when others see us sometimes, they're like, oh, you always got it together.
Mm-hmm.
So how were some of those conversations with you and God?
Yeah.
How have they been along the way?
Yeah.
To like, what did you face any challenges along the way in walking in purpose or getting to purpose? And what did that Darnell and God conversation look like?
Yeah. So I will be remiss if I didn't say I've been blessed to have a circle of friends, a circle of guys who we've known each other since freshman year in college.
Okay.
We've navigated single life together. We've navigated, hey, I met a girl together. We've navigated marriage. Now we all got children.
Yes.
I've been in their weddings. They've been in our wedding. So I've been blessed to have a circle of guys around me who could care less about my degrees, who can care less about my accomplishments.
Okay.
They might care about your book, you know. So, but you need that.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
so
absolutely.
We always joke and say that group text is to the grave, to the grave. Right. But I say that to say that keeps me. Yeah. And also, you know, I'm an avid journaler, and what I've done for numerous years is at the end of each month, I reread my journal entries. Because in the moment, I'm crying out to God for provision. In the moment, I'm crying out to God for, you know, provision, and I need you to come through, and I'm not sure about this meeting at work. And then when I reread it, I'm like, okay, so you came through here. You came through here. I had no reason to be concerned here, but in the moment I didn't know it.
Right.
So that keeps me grounded as well to say, again, I try to keep a short, I always say people have spiritual amnesia a lot.
Yes.
God provides and we forget. And God provides and we forget. So, you know, it's one of those things where I try to keep a short record of, okay, he's been too good for me to be forgetting all the doggone time. You know, he's brought me too far. But in your current season, if you don't take time to reflect upon where he's brought you from, you lose track of just how far he's brought you.
Now, that is true.
You know, so I think have I had difficulties? Of course. Even now, as trying to be, you know, I joke and say, I'm raising middle-class kids with a hood understanding, you know? So it's like, how do I prepare you to walk in a season that I didn't walk through? You know, preparing my kids for college. All my stuff was paid for because, you know, scholarships and grants. And if I was dumb enough to sign a student loan, they gave me that too. Right. You know, but the money was there because my mama didn't have it. Right. But now, the story's a little different for my kids.
A little bit.
You know, so I always say, like, man, this is new territory.
Yeah.
How do I train them to be grounded, but yet walk in provision? Whereas I grew up walking in, Lord, you're going to have to come through because the light's off again. You know, you're going to have to come through because that refrigerator good and empty. Yeah. You're going to have to come through because we about to get evicted. Like, you're going to have to come through. Right. They know nothing of that world.
Got you.
To the grace of God. So it's like, I always say, like, even as God is using me, he's continually reshaping my understanding of him because it's all new.
Yeah.
It's all new.
Yeah.
None of this is what I experienced. None of it.
None of it.
None of it. But again, it helps me be that much more appreciative of what I have and what I've earned by his grace because I know what it could have been.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
We all grew up with examples of people who were just as talented, but made a couple choices along the way, and now they're all the way where they don't want to be.
Right.
So it wasn't because I'm so chosen or anything like that. It's just because literally God gave me the humility to say, one opportunity at a time, I'm going to trust you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to trust you here, and I'm going to trust you here, even if I don't understand, even if it don't make sense. You know, I always say, everybody has two options in life.
Yeah.
You can blaze a trail and start a new legacy.
Okay.
Or you can continue a legacy that's been given to you.
Okay.
Everybody has one or two choices. For me, part of, starting Lead One in 2013 with my wife was we believed that too many people were waiting for a position or a title in order to walk in their purpose. And we were like, no. Everything God has shown us is that if you walk in obedience, the positions and the titles will come.
Yeah.
You just do what God has called you to do.
Yes.
And you be obedient to the season he has you in.
Oh, that's
and leave
so
the
good.
results to him.
Absolutely.
So, for a phrase that I use all the time, the cycle ends with me. I live by that.
Okay.
I grew up, domestic violence and divorce. Those are two cycles I was determined were going to end with me.
Yeah.
My children would not know the damage that comes with that.
Okay.
The damage that I'm still navigating.
Gotcha.
They will not know that.
Yeah.
My wife will not know the hardship that I saw my mom have to navigate. She will know nothing of it.
Got it. Yeah.
So that's what drives me, is to create a legacy. I tell my son all the time, I'm having conversations with you that my dad never had with me. Right. So that when you have children, this will be the norm.
Yes.
While I'm walking in faith every conversation, because God has given me the words that weren't given to me. Now you have it at a young age because this is what Dad has always done for you.
Yes.
So again, blazing that trail and walking in a new season of legacy building, if you will, to say, hey, not on my watch. This ends here. And I believe everyone has a generational curse that they're trying to break, whether it's lack of education, physical health, mental health, you name it. If we were transparent, everybody has that one thing that says it ends here. It ends here.
Absolutely.
So I think that's another thing that keeps me, is to know the cycles he's allowed me to shatter and the fruit that comes from shattering those cycles so the next generation can walk in wholeness.
Yes. Listen, walking in healing and wholeness is so important.
Yeah.
And I don't think enough people intentionally chart that path.
Yeah.
It is, you talk about journaling. I've been journaling since I was in high school.
Come on.
And sometimes, when you talked about, going back and reading it, like at the end of the month, I was like, maybe I should do that. Because I go back and I'll read something from years ago and I'll see, one, how far God has brought me. And then two, I'll see, wait, you told me this a long time ago. And I just overlooked it or missed it or forgot about it. And sometimes we have to go back so that we can be reminded not only of God's goodness, but of who he has called us to be.
Come on.
And God, so you have so many titles. You've got you've got son, you've got brother, you've got husband and father and teacher and mentor, administrator, all the things. If you were to wrap all of those things up, what would you say your purpose is?
To empower others.
Okay.
I think I always say, and I was just telling one of my mentees this a little while ago, maybe a week or two ago, I said, a true man, if able, is consistent within any environment he's in.
Okay.
Too many times we switch hats too much. You know, for example, if I'm with this group of friends, I act this way.
Okay.
If I'm with this group of friends, I act this way. If I'm at work, I act this way. If I'm at church, I act this way. And I pride myself on being consistently Darnell.
Okay.
When you see me at Walmart, that's the Darnell you're going to get.
Okay.
When you see me out with the family, that's the Darnell you're going to get. It's the same Darnell.
Yeah.
So to empower others to walk in that freedom, to walk with that sense of purpose, because it has blessed me to be consistently Darnell, so I don't have to switch it up because, you know, the superintendent just walked in.
Yes.
I'm just being Darnell.
Yeah.
And if I'm at the gym, I'm just being Darnell. If I'm out with the family and, you know, my students see me, I don't have to wonder, oh man, what did they overhear?
Got you.
I'm just being Darnell. So it's a level of consistency that I try to empower others to live in, to say, hey, just be who God has called you to be consistently.
Yes.
And if you can do that consistently, again, the results will take care of itself.
Amen.
You know, just I have a heart for mentoring the next generation because I was mentored.
Yes.
I was discipled. So to see former students who are now, you know, husbands and fathers themselves, and the blessing of social media in my world is being able to stay connected with them.
Yes.
You know, and we talk whenever we need to, and then I tell them I'm just a text message away. I'm just a phone call away.
Yeah.
And they're walking me through what they're going through. And and I'm, you know, I don't got all the answers, but this is what I know to be true.
Right. Come on.
This is what's worked for me.
Yes.
So just being in that season of being the one doing the empowering, and then seeing the fruit of that is just amazing. But I think if I could summarize all those hats is I've been called to empower others.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to wrap this up because look, we could talk all day.
I know.
But I was like, okay, it's a podcast. We got to turn the corner. But I want to bring up one more thing, which I brought up a little bit before we start recording. But every time I think about you, whenever I see you, the first thing I think about is Lane Tech Gospel Choir.
Come on.
And me encouraging you very strongly to lead Kirk Franklin's Conquerors.
Come on.
And when I think about that, and then I think about your life that we've just talked about, I didn't know why I felt so strongly that you should lead that song.
Yeah.
But when I hear your life, your life, that is really a testament to your life.
Come on.
You are more than a conqueror. From 1 pound, 15 ounces to the man that you sit here today, the mentor that you are, the husband, the father, let's just say the leader, the empowerer that you are today. You are more.
Come on.
Than a conqueror.
Come on.
And I am blessed by your story. I am blessed by your yes to God. I'm blessed by your obedience to God. And I want to make sure that other people know how they can be blessed by your ministry as well. So I'm just going to grab a few things over here.
No problem.
And I'm going to talk to the camera for a second.
All right.
And I am going to raise up your book here, Journey to Fatherhood, which we have talked about in the podcast, how you are journaling you and your wife's nine-month journey through pregnancy.
Yeah.
And listen, if you do not have a copy of this book and you are going through that very journey, you might want to pick it up.
Come on.
Listen, because it'll bless you. And then we have, you came out with a journal recently.
Yes.
Because we know that you are a journaler.
Come on,
you know what I'm saying?
Come on.
So when the man journals, then he needs the journal said the cycle ends with me.
Yes.
So he also has a journal that you can pick up at all the outlets.
Yeah, well, my website is theleadonemovement.com.
Okay.
So all of our resources are available for purchase.
Okay.
And anyone who purchases a copy, they can notify me and I autograph them and email and send them out. So it's very customized.
Okay, very good. And then we've got a new thing which we didn't get really get a chance to talk about today.
All right.
So I'm gonna hold it up now. I'm gonna pass it to you and ask you to tell us a little bit about it.
Definitely.
Because I think we probably listen. Okay, so there's another book called The Adventures of Donald the Knight, Fearfully and Wonderfully Made, and this just recently came out. How?
November of 2022.
November 2022. Okay,
Yeah.
And so I want you to tell me a little bit about the background of how this came to be.
So again, having been born a twin, my twin's name was Donald.
Gotcha.
So this is a tribute, Donald the Knight, to his memory.
Yes.
But also, being in education for 20 plus years, I'm always having countless conversations with parents who are looking for resources on how to help their child navigate bullying, peer pressure, and low self-esteem.
Okay.
So I wanted to provide a resource for young families. When you get to high school, you're already at a certain point of being kind of fixed in your ways. But if I could provide a resource for the children, particularly our young men, of how to navigate bullying, peer pressure, and low self-esteem from a biblical perspective, then families have yet another resource to refer to.
Got it.
So I had a chance to honor my twin's memory.
Yes.
Keep his legacy alive.
Yes.
While at the same time providing a resource for families. So by the grace of God, we launched in November of 2022. We just crossed 1,000 books sold.
Congratulations.
30 book signings later.
Wow.
And you're the first to hear about it on this podcast. But book number 2 is set to launch in March.
Okay.
So your boy been working behind the scenes, you know. So book 2 will be launching here shortly.
Okay.
So definitely keep out on the look for that.
We will do that.
Yes.
So it'll be a continuation of Donald the Knight.
It's a 3-part series, actually.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody look for Adventures of Donald the Knight Part 2.
Yes.
Coming in March of 2025. And I just want to say thank you, Darnell, for taking the time to talk to me today and share your story. It has been uplifting. It has been inspiring and encouraging and empowering. And so thank you all so much for joining us on Pressed into Purpose on today. We pray that you've gotten some nuggets from our conversation, and we pray that they will help you to press further into your purpose. Thank you, and thank you. We'll see you next time. Today's episode is brought to you by Destiny Film and Media. Go to destinyfam1.com for all your media needs. Destiny Film and Media, your destiny through film and media.